And I believe that if I am able to demonstrate that what has been done is the right thing, it shouldn't matter where the pressure comes from. It shouldn't matter. We have to keep at it, because if we don't sacrifice to occupy that space, then who is it that should? So I've thought about all that, and with my patriotism, I am ready for any eventuality, should it happen in the way that you have described it. It's very scary, but doable, and I'm ready for it, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
So where do you draw your strength from?
I draw my strength, first of all, I'm a believer, and I always know that if I'm doing the right thing, then I'm guided from high up. I draw my strength from sticking to the truth, what is true, because the truth can never become a lie, and lies can never become true. I draw my strength from my self-awareness. I know how far I'm able to go, and I know where I cannot go. So that is where my strength comes from. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, I'll move to FCPA Tanui to ask further questions.
Thank you, Chair, and Honorable Amadi. I heard you mention about Ghana, how they have been able to hold successful elections. And I would wish that should you be given this position, you also do a benchmarking. I think in the same Ghana, there are other electoral commissions where the chairperson of the commission has been given executive powers. They are also accounting officer.
Okay.
Reason being that, and you'll note from our country, there have always been an issue of the roles between the chair and the accounting officer. So there are successful commissions that have actually given those roles.
Oh, I didn't know that. Thank you.
So just for your information.
Thank you.
Now, a follow-up question on what Professor Olo has put it is on how would you handle conflicts? You will appreciate that IEBC, there are many actors or stakeholders who would want to control the operations of IEBC. You go to Treasury, they don't give them adequate funding, they delay the funding, it affects their processes. There are other stakeholders who tell them they have no powers to make regulations, despite the fact that they are an independent commission. So there are also cases, and this has been reported in the past, where even staff members of the commission are being alleged that they took partisan roles in the election process. So if you get this position as a chair, how will you work around using your leadership skills and your experience to ensure that all these stakeholders are brought together and that the commission achieves its mandate? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I'll just give an example of what happened in the run-up to the 2022 elections. There is a framework that was put together which was called multi-agency team or something like that brought together all the agencies. There was judiciary, there was police, there was treasury, there was Ministry of Interior and IEBC. Basically for purposes of just seeing how the IEBC could be supported to be able to conduct a successful election in 2022. And they had several meetings where the IEBC, outside of the normal framework, was able to indicate the kind of support that they needed, the kind of timelines within which they had to do what they needed to do. And there were certain commitments that were made by the various agencies. But I know that at some point, again, IEBC stepped out of that framework for some reason. I think it was a good initiative that can still be tried. The reasons as to why IEBC stepped out of that framework are not so clear to me at this point in time. But I've always believed that when things are done in a consultative way, through a cooperative framework, they tend to just work better in terms of people understanding that this support needs to be given so as to avoid delays, so as to hinder the processes of the commission. On the issue of staff playing partisan roles in the electoral process, that's very unfortunate. I think you have to be able to disrupt certain formations within the commission. There's a way in which staff can be taken through. They can be taken through processes that can help their mindsets, but again, it shouldn't be too. Certain administrative interventions can be made to make sure that it's difficult for staff to do to carry out their activities, their duties in a partisan manner. For example, if someone was expecting to go and oversee the elections in Nakuru and last minute they're taken to Kajiado, then they will maybe not be able to do what they had planned to do. So there are certain administrative interventions that can be put in place to just make sure that we minimize on the mischief, if any has been planned. But I'm sure with a team we'll be able to discuss and just see what else is possible to be done, so that people are just following the regulations, the rules. I know what we did in the judiciary for most of the things, because when I went there, I found that there were no standard operating procedures, there were no manuals. So we had to prepare a lot of manuals that everybody had to stick to. Everyone had to stick to, so that then everything is done in the correct manner. Again, technology can help, because when the system is secure, then there's some of the mischief that can be prevented from taking place, even if the human nature wanted to, interfere with the process.
Lastly, and related to the multi-agency team, which I think I attended one of the meetings at Safari Park. Yes.